Hey guys, welcome. This is Adam Ellis, club director at NPJ. I'm joined today with the head coach from University of Oregon, Matt Ulmer. Matt, thanks for taking the time to join us, buddy.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
How are you and your family doing during this time?
A lot of quality time, which is nice. This is normally a time where I don't get to see them very much, so it's been quite the change. But learning how to homeschool the kids a little bit, that's fun. Saying the dogs are thrilled right now. My wife, I don't know if she's thrilled, but a lot of quality time there too. So I'm thankful that we have some separate rooms that we can go to and watch our Netflix or whatever in peace. So that's nice. But no, it's been really good.
Yeah, and you have two kids, right?
Yeah, 6 and 4. Camden boy, Harper girl.
Oh,
So teaching them actually for the first time here volleyball. So with a balloon, starting it that way and getting them going, and they're pretty pumped up about it. So that's been a silver lining.
very cool. Yeah, we saw that on YouTube. Love the garbage ball and glad you posted that.
When I was in college, I went to Carthage College. It's in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and the weather was brutal in the winters. And so this is my freshman year, I think. And so we're in the dorms, and they're pretty tight. And so how do you create volleyball in the dorms? Well, we took our garbage cans or whatever we had just laying around, like suitcases or whatever that was in our dorm rooms. We made the net with that and a balloon, and it got pretty heated. So garbage ball formed. It's basically sitting volleyball, but that's why it was called that, just because that's what we did. And it was actually pretty popular in the dorms. So yeah, now getting the kids doing it. So it's pretty fun.
Would you guys have tournaments and stuff back in the dorms?
Yeah, it was big. Actually, it got pretty big. So it was fun.
Talk to us a little bit about your playing days back at Carthage College.
Yeah. So before that, when I was a freshman in high school, I was 4'11", and I graduated high school at 5'11". So I'm 6'7" now. I think we listed me at 6'8" just to make me sound better, but I'm 6'7", and my mom's a coach, and I grew up in the gym. I've always been around volleyball since I can remember. And so I played growing up. My mom had a club, it was boys club, and so I played in that for, I think I was 13 on the 16s team, that kind of thing. And I was really small, so this was before libero, but I was the DS, and then libero happened, and then I was libero. And then I became like a tall libero, and then I became a small setter. And then my senior year of high school, I grew 4 inches during my season.
Jeez.
So I went from I played every position that year in the season, which is only 3 or 4 months or whatever. And so I was like a small left, and then a tall left, and then a small right, a tall right, and then a small middle. I never got to be a tall middle, but that's kind of my progression. So going into college, I was not highly recruited or anything like that. I had good skills, but I didn't have the body, I didn't have the physical abilities. But I worked hard, and I really loved volleyball and passionate about it. And I had the IQ for it. So college, I grew 5 inches my senior year of high school. I grew five more inches my freshman year of college. So then I became 6'4", and then I became a tall setter. And then I had 3 more inches on the next year, and so I was a 6'7" setter. And so once my body forgave me a little bit for all the growing things that I had, I kind of got into some physicality and kind of got into my own. Really didn't become, I think, good until my 5th year. And so I was a first-team All-American setter that year. We went to the national championship game, and could have played after that, but I always wanted to coach. I knew I wanted to coach, and so that led me to Long Beach State.
Yeah, and moving a little bit to Long Beach State, you are at least what I've been told is you are the youngest head coach to win a Division I national championship, and I don't think that's been surpassed as of yet.
Yeah. So 2013, I was the head beach volleyball coach at Long Beach. And so 2012 was the first year of beach volleyball for NCAA, but it was AVCA at the time. And so we went to the national championship game for the pairs and the team championship that year. We lost to Pepperdine, I think, in both. They had Summer Ross, a really good team. And we lost to them close. It was like 17-15 in the pairs championship. And we were up 14-11 or it was something like that. It's brutal. But we had lost that. And then the next year we came back, and I was the assistant the year before. And so 2013 we came in and we beat Pepperdine. We actually had Pepperdine their first loss. At the time they were undefeated in beach volleyball after 2 years. And so we beat them in the championship game. And my assistant coach was Erica Dillard, who's my assistant coach at Oregon now, and Misty May. Trainer was my assistant coach. And so that was amazing being around her, being around Butch. I learned so much from the two of them in the time that we had together, and just feel really grateful. I consider her to be the GOAT, in our sport. So it was really a cool experience for me. But coaching beach and happened to do that. I think I was 27, something like that. So really, really cool to have that happen at such a young age.
Do you miss coaching beach at all? Are you still involved with your beach program at Oregon?
So this is the first year, although it didn't end, but this was the first year that I wasn't going to coach beach since beach got started in 2012. This was the first year. So it was just too much for me. So last year I'm the head indoor coach and I'm recruiting basically 24/7. And then I'm the beach coach, and we're a quarter system school. So then not only am I doing beach, but I'm still doing indoor at the time because we're split a little bit. And so that goes all the way until mid-June. And then from there we have our camps and we have more recruiting, and we went to Europe this past summer with the team, and then I coach USA. And then we started season. So I didn't have a minute. And like we said earlier, I have a 6 and a 4-year-old, and so it's just a lot. So something had to give. And so for me, getting out of beach, it was a really hard decision, but it was something that I felt like I had to do.
With all the recruiting guidelines changing and now being postponed to another month till May 31st, what does that do for you guys?
I mean, I love recruiting. I love being out there. I love seeing everybody. I love being able to talk to club coaches and other high school coaches. I love developing those relationships and getting Oregon out there. It's really one of my passions. It's one of my favorite part about my job, because it's the time where I really get to just kind of develop a community, is when I get to get out there and be with everybody and just, really strengthen those relationships. So that part stinks. As far as actually recruiting goes, with the rule change, I feel like it's, now we can't recruit until junior year. For us, it hasn't probably hurt us too much.
Sure.
Or probably most people. So if you're really looking for a junior or senior right now, then I think it could be a little devastating, or at least stressful for sure. If you're trying to find some people, or if you're looking for transfers. But for us right now, I feel like, we're doing okay.
Can you give us a little preview of what the roster is going to look like going into next year? And
1 year older, thank the Lord. We ended up being a really young team this past year. I don't think I would have foreseen that. We had 3 seniors on the roster. One was supposed to be back, Taylor Borup, our big outside, right. Who's really a unique talent. She's an L1 that can really pass and play defense. Those just don't really happen much at an elite level, and she's one of those. And she had surgery as soon as we lost in the Elite Eight the year before, and so we thought she'd be back, and she wasn't. Just a really hard recovery for her. So we didn't have her, and so that put 2 freshmen in her position, true freshmen in her position. And then Willow Johnson, our lefty All-American opposite, went down in our 3rd match of the year against Pitt. And then that put 2 more true freshmen in her position. So all of a sudden we had 1 sophomore, Brooke Nuneviller, who was our All-American libero. We had to put her on the left side. Didn't have to, but she is great over there. So to keep her and Georgia Murphy, our other libero, on the floor together for ball control. And then Ronica Stone, who's our senior All-American middle, just trying to figure out now how do we get her the ball as much as possible, because it's the 2 of them and then all freshmen.
Right.
So I might have been the youngest team ever. I don't know. At one point we had a sophomore and 5 freshmen on the floor for over half the game. So it was really an interesting year from a coaching perspective. I think just having to go through the process with just guns a-blazing, just you're really vulnerable out there because you're just trying to learn as you're playing. Being a fall sport didn't help us because we didn't have really any practices before that, So we had very little experience on the floor with one of the toughest schedules in the country. Yeah. But because of that, now we had a lot of experience that we learned. And now this next year, we're really excited. And our winter session of training was fantastic. Huge growth. I'm really proud of our group. I really like our culture. I'm proud of everything we're doing, actually. Our offense is really coming along, which is kind of where we struggled last year. And so, just getting people healthy, getting everybody back, growing up, and I'm looking forward to 2020. So hopefully we get a chance to play.
Yeah. Do you think that missing the spring will impact what the fall looks like at all for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, again, because we are so inexperienced, winter was huge. Spring was going to be really important for us. Missing those 6-on-6 reps, missing those spring matches. One we were going to do with you guys, the tournament. All those things were, I think, really valuable for us in our growth. But it is what it is, and so now our team has to grow up even more right now because now they have to do things on their own and they're in charge of their own progression, which is a lot to ask, as well as their academics. So, but we're checking in with them. We're doing everything we can as a staff. But I like our group. Even though we're young, we're pretty mature and we're pretty responsible. So hopefully everybody's just doing their part.
Man, and super, super athletic. I mean, you guys are fun.
Talent isn't the issue. Now it's just a matter of growing, and making better choices and just understanding the game. And there's just no way to prepare a freshman coming in, especially to the Pac-12, especially to our schedule, which we scheduled really difficult in the preseason. And so we had one of the toughest schedules overall. And it's just, you're just thrown into the fire right away. And there's nothing that anybody can do. You do the best you can as a club coach, as a high school coach, as a prep athlete. But there's nothing you can do when all of a sudden Catherine Plummer's coming at you or any of the – I mean, that ball's moving faster than you've ever prepared for, and then just the pressures and the everyday practice. I think is always the biggest thing is that now you're on your own. One, you're out of your house. But two, you're practicing and you're lifting every, 5 to 6 days a week.
Sure.
Which, even the most exhaustive club schedules maybe give you 3 or 4, and so that's just a change. And it's a change to the bodies and it's a change to the stress. Then you throw in academics on top of that and roommates. That's always a big one. Can you handle your roommate, who doesn't clean up their side of the space and all that boys, relationships, just life.
Sure.
And so, generally you're not hoping freshmen can come in and, take such a big load for you, but sometimes that's how it goes. So.
Yeah, it just makes the future that much more impressive. So it is Thursday, so let's do a little throwback Thursday to a preseason match from a few years ago. I believe it was Nebraska. You guys beat them. It was a huge upset. I believe they were ranked 5th overall at the time in the country, and that's the first time that Oregon has beat a top 5 team since 2012. Can you talk us through that match at all? Kind of some highlights from it.
Yeah, I actually just rewatched it the other day. That was my first match as a head coach at Oregon. So, you open up with Nebraska. We were in Gainesville, Florida, part of the Vert Challenge. So it was University of Florida, University of Texas, Nebraska, and us. And so we played Nebraska and we played Texas back-to-back nights. And Nebraska actually won the national championship that year. So that was 2017. We played them. And we were down like 10-2 the first set. And I'm sitting there in the chair, like it's my first time, as head coach, and I'm facing John Cooke, no big deal, And I was just sitting down and just trying to be calm for my team, and we were down 2-10, and it was looking really ugly. And I just remember I called my second time out, down 2-10, and I got up and I just started like dancing on the sideline, moving around, doing whatever I could do, acting a fool.
Sure.
We came back and we won the first set. Just kind of calmed everybody down, it loosened us up.
Right.
We came back and we won the first set, and then we won a tight second set, lost a deuce third set, and then won, I think, a deuce fourth set. And it was a great match. Brooke Van Sickle had the big kill, back-to-back kills at the end. Taylor August and Willow Johnson was excellent. It was just really, really fun to see our group perform, and we had the big celebration after, and it was just a great way to kick off that season, kick off my career as a head coach. But just, you just really develop memories with your team and your players doing things like that. And so it's always fun to see their hard work pay off.
Definitely. If you had to describe your coaching style, and how it's developed and changed over the years, how would you describe it?
I think I'm a player's coach. As far as I really appreciate the relationships with my players and their families. That's really what I value the most. I love volleyball. I love competition. Again, my whole life has really been around that, surrounded by it. I've always been a part of it.
Sure.
So I'm really passionate about all those things, but I love having teammates. I love being in a bus together. I love being on the road together and playing games and doing stupid things together. I love that stuff. I love that my players are around my kids growing up, and I love what that's like for them. And So I think for me, I just really appreciate the opportunity I have to be a mentor to the young women that I get to coach. And this is a very difficult time in their lives. They're trying to figure out who they are and what direction they're going to go in, what path, and what they believe in. It's the first time they're away from their parents and kind of the structure that they've had put in place. And so they get to make a lot of decisions on their own now. And so just to be that person that can help guide them and just be a sounding board for them, I think is really important. And I'm thankful to do that.
Definitely.
So has that grown for me? I would say I think my experiences grow, because as I go along, so I see more things and I see how things turn out with different people. And so I can just continually give better information, I feel like, just because I have more data.
Sure.
So, and then for me, my life is much more settled now. So I really don't have as many insecurities as I once had. At least I hope not. So, so I think for them, it's just so much more about the players now. And I think we're focusing on that, which I'm really thankful for.
Speaking of the players, you've had such a successful career and have found so many successes at every level that you've coached at. One of the things that, I went back and looked at, and one of the things that I was really impressed with is you've had over 25 players that have gone on to play professionally. Are there certain characteristics or other than their athletic ability, but are there certain characteristics or habits that those players all have that have contributed to them being able to go play professionally and make a living overseas?
I think the most important thing is that they love volleyball.
Yeah.
Because again, it's what I said to my team about right now is that they're basically pro players right now.
Sure.
Because when you go, we don't have professional volleyball in our country other than AVP. So they're all going overseas. They're going to Europe. They're going to Asia, different countries. And so for them, they're on their own and they have to figure out how to meal prep on their own and work out and recover on their own and, get to and from on their own and, handle their volleyball prep on their own.
Right.
And so in order to do that, and generally they're doing it alone, they're not doing it with family. They're not doing it with a significant other. So to do that, you have to really love volleyball. You have to really love what you're doing or else it's probably not ideal for a lot of people. So I think that's a really important thing is that they just are really passionate about volleyball. And so hopefully one of the things that I can do as a coach and the other coaches that I've worked with during the time, my mom, Brian, Jim Lauro, is that we've provided an environment where they love playing volleyball and that they want to do this for a long term. And so I think that's important. Yeah. Physical ability it's really important. If you're going to be a professional athlete, you have to be a professional athlete first. And then I think that the things that we teach our athletes really help mold them to be pros. They know how to move their body. They know how to stay healthy, even though this past year wasn't for us, but generally we can stay healthy and
sure.
We're prepared. And I think another thing we do is we really develop the whole volleyball player. It's not just position specific. Take a look at Ronica Stone this past year. She ended up playing 6 rotations and she played great defense and she was in service receive a little bit. And there was a match at Utah where we were down to 6 players and we had 3 middles playing 6 rotations. And, Taylor August, who has a shot maybe to be with the USA team in the future now, who's from Oregon. She ended up being a really nice 6 rotation player and she killed it in Greece this past season. And so I think just developing their whole game makes them more marketable, gives them more opportunities, and makes their finances even better. So I think there's a lot of things there, but ultimately you got to want to live that pro life. And so in order to do that, you have to be able to be independent because you're going to have to live on your own and you have to be really passionate about volleyball.
I'll leave you with this, Matt, and just last question for you. Top 3 things you look for in an athlete when you're recruiting them.
Other than talent?
Yeah, other than their physical ability, right? Physical ability, we're all, going to be able to see, and that usually stands out. But what are 3 characteristics that you really look for in athletes that you're recruiting?
Well, one thing, I don't know if a lot of people look at this, but I look at their ankles.
Okay.
And so hopefully it's not creepy if you ever see me staring at your ankles, but I watch their ankles and I want to see how their flexion is because I think that's really important in defense and serve receive, in movement, in the quick jump. So I want to see the ankle bend. If they're playing on their toes too much, probably not going to be I don't think probably not going to get to where I hope they want to get to. So that's one thing I look at is ankles. So that's a random physical attribute for you.
Yeah, I like that. That's a new one. I haven't heard that one. I like that.
Yeah. So if you ever just see me staring at the floor, I'm not losing interest. And then a big one is I like to watch players from a few courts away, like where they don't know that I'm there.
Being 6'7" probably helps that.
It is hard. So I've worn a lot less green these days. I feel like you can find this in the crowd, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, my shiny green coat hasn't been out much. You know, but I think I want to see how players interact when they don't know you're watching.
Sure.
You know, I want to know how they interact with their teammates. I want to know how they interact with their coaches, how they interact with the opponents or their officials. You know, all those things are really important as far as just maturity and as far as respect. So those type of people I want to be around, and I think will work. And then the other thing is, do they go for everything? You know, what's the hustle like? You know, are they willing to sacrifice themselves for the betterment of the team for that point? And just kind of, you know, seeing all that kind of stuff. Do they stop? Do they not go and help their teammate up? Do they, you know, all those little things I think are massive and speak volume to me.
Definitely.
Outside of the volleyball court, it's grades,
Sure.
You know, because everything carries over. You know, if you are disciplined in academics, you have a much better shot of being disciplined when it comes to volleyball, and vice versa. So, you know, that's a really important thing.
Love it. Well, we were very fortunate today, Matt. Appreciate the time.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Definitely, and hopefully we'll be able to do this again soon.
I'm gonna go wash my hands.
All right, definitely. Me as well.
Thanks, buddy.